The stale air of the rehabilitation center hung heavy, thick with a mixture of antiseptic and unspoken anxieties. Philip adjusted his tie, the knot feeling constricting despite his attempts to loosen it. He hated these introductory sessions. He'd become a doctor to heal, to mend, not to shepherd reluctant souls through the first agonizing steps of recovery. He was 32, a man of meticulous habits. His apartment, a haven from the order of the hospital, was a testament to his control. Cookbooks lined the shelves in perfect order, and a workbench in the corner held the tools for any number of small repairs. Control, he craved it. And addiction, in all its messy, destructive glory, was its antithesis. This late Friday afternoon, however, was important. It was about expanding his reach, offering his expertise, and hopefully, helping someone find their way back to the light. He'd volunteered to oversee this particular group because of the innovative, albeit controversial, approach they were taking, incorporating art and music therapy alongside conventional treatment. He scanned the small group gathered in the circle. There was a grizzled man who looked like he'd wrestled alligators, a tearful teenager clutching a worn teddy bear, and then there was her, Julia. Her file had described her as a 29-year-old singer in a pop band. The file hadn't captured the vulnerability etched on her face, the defiance flickering in her beautiful eyes, or the way her restless hands twisted in her lap, as if searching for something that wasn't there. Her blonde hair, usually meticulously styled in the photos online when performing on stage, was pulled back carelessly, revealing the sharp angles of her cheekbones. He forced himself to focus on the introductions. The grizzled man mumbled about losing his family, the teenager sobbed about feeling lost, and then it was Julia's turn. "Julia," she said, her voice a husky whisper. "I sing. I have a problem." The words hung in the air for a while, heavy with the signs of addiction. Second phase of cocaine addiction. Regular but not daily use, he recalled from her file. Philip nodded, offering a gentle smile he hoped was reassuring. He kept his gaze steady, trying to convey empathy without pity. He knew that pity was a poison, that it would only reinforce the self-loathing that already consumed them. The session continued, the usual confessions and expressions of remorse filling the room. Philip listened attentively, offering words of encouragement and practical advice. But his gaze kept drifting back to Julia. She remained mostly silent, observing the group with an almost detached curiosity. When he caught her eye, she didn't flinch away. Instead, she held his gaze, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. After the session, as the group dispersed, he saw her linger near the door. He approached her cautiously. "Julia." She turned, her eyes wary. "Dr. Philip," he offered. "You can call me Philip." She hesitated, then nodded slightly. "Philip." She tested the name on her lips, a faint smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "How are you feeling?" he asked. She shrugged. "Like I want a cigarette." He resisted the urge to lecture her about replacing one addiction with another. Instead, he said, "It's tough. The first few days are always the hardest." "You wouldn't understand," she said, her voice laced with a hint of bitterness. He surprised himself by answering, "Maybe not, but I understand the feeling of being controlled, of wanting something you know is bad for you." He didn't elaborate, leaving the statement hanging between them. He wasn't about to divulge his own secret obsessions, his late-night experiments in his makeshift home lab, fueled by caffeine and a burning curiosity about the human brain. She looked at him, her gaze searching. "What's your poison, Dr.?" The girl forgot his name. "Olson. It's Philip Olson. But as I mentioned before, you can call me Philip or Phil." He smiled, a genuine smile this time. "You'll have to figure that out for yourself, Julia. See you next time. Take care." He left her standing there, the unanswered question lingering between them. As he walked home, he couldn't shake the image of her face. He knew, with a certainty that both excited and terrified him, that this was just the beginning. Later that night, in the solitude of his apartment, Philip couldn't focus on his experiments. The vibrant colors seemed dull and lifeless. He abandoned his desk and went to his workbench, fiddling with the intricate circuitry of a small device. Cocaine addiction, he thought, was a puzzle he was determined to solve. A Gordian knot he was determined to unravel. And Julia, with her raw sensitivity and defiant spirit, was a piece of that puzzle he couldn't ignore. He knew it was unprofessional, perhaps even unethical. But something about her called to him, a siren song promising a journey into the darkest corners of the human psyche. He told himself it was scientific curiosity, a desire to understand the mechanics of addiction. But deep down he knew it was something more. He was drawn to her brokenness, to the fragility beneath her carefully constructed facade. He wanted to fix her, to heal her, to somehow make her whole. And in doing so, he hoped, he might just heal a part of himself as well. The next few weeks were a delicate dance. Philip continued to lead the group sessions, offering Julia encouragement and support without crossing the line of professional conduct. He saw her talent shine through during the music therapy sessions, her voice soaring with a passion that belied her inner turmoil. He learned about her band, her dreams of making it big, but he didn't know the pressures that had led her down the path of addiction. And slowly, painstakingly, he started to fall in love. He knew it was wrong. He knew the potential consequences. But he couldn't help himself. He found himself thinking about her constantly, replaying their conversations in his mind, searching for hidden meanings. He was falling fast and hard, and he knew that the ground below was treacherous. Julia, too, seemed to be drawn to him. She began confiding in him, sharing her fears and anxieties. She talked about the cravings, the guilt, the overwhelming sense of shame. She opened up to him in a way she hadn't opened up to anyone before. One Friday evening, after a particularly difficult session, she waited for him outside the center. "Philip," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Can we talk?" He hesitated, knowing he was walking a dangerous line. But he couldn't resist. "Of course," he said. "Where would you like to talk?" She looked at him, her eyes pleading. "Anywhere. Just anywhere but here. Maybe there." She had pointed to a small Italian restaurant nearby. The warm lighting and the aroma of garlic and herbs offered a small measure of comfort. They ordered pasta, but neither of them ate much. "Thank you," she said, finally breaking the silence. For everything." "You don't have to thank me," he said. "I'm just doing my job." The words felt hollow, a lie he couldn't quite believe himself. "It feels like more than that," she said, her gaze intense. "It feels like you actually care." He reached across the table and took her hand. Her skin was cold, her fingers trembling. "I do care, Julia," he said, his voice low and sincere. "I care very much." She squeezed his hand, her eyes filling with tears. "I'm scared, Philip," she said. "I'm so scared of failing again." He leaned closer, his voice a gentle reassurance. "You won't fail, Julia. I won't let you." And in that moment, he knew he was lost. He was completely, utterly, hopelessly in love with her. He also knew that he had to find a way to save her, not just from her addiction, but from the darkness that threatened to consume her. And he was willing to do whatever it took, even if it meant risking everything.